Now, as we know, most wedges look like this. This is my 56-degree sand wedge. It's got a relatively thin sole, it's got loft, it's got a long neck as a hosel. That is what is the industry standard these days. However, this thing is definitely not that. This is a hybrid wedge. It's a hollow head construction. It's got a 3-inch sole, which is supposed to be better for not chunking it, not thinning it, so hopefully get better strikes. It has got 56 degrees of loft, so it's the same as a sand wedge I would normally use. It's got this alignment line down the middle for alignment and accuracy, and apparently, basically, it's duff proof, it's chopper proof, it's hacker proof. Let's get onto the green and test it out. So this wedge is called June 56, and it's really only designed for shots around close to the green. It's not for fuller, longer shots, and it's not for bunker shots either. Now, price-wise, it was $129 from the US, and it took, I'll be honest, it took a long time to get over here, probably about 6 to 8 weeks. It just comes with stock graphite shaft that says Wedge Flex, and actually quite a nice grip, which is a little bit thicker than standard, which I'm a big fan of. Now, you might know I'm not the best chipper in the world. My confidence level at the moment is going up, which is a positive, but I'm still subject to a few duff hits. So what I'm intrigued to know about this wedge is that eliminate all duff hits. And even though it looks unusual or weird or different or so different to tradition, can a wedge like this work, or is it just a load of gimmicky crap? Now, with modern wedge technology, you get different grinds, you get different bounces, which is to help golfers chip better, effectively, stopping the club digging into the ground. This area of the club has changed a lot on a wedge, but it's a very big difference between the traditional wedge and this big monster hybrid wedge. So I know it's hard to tell straight away, but I'm just gonna chip 3 with my normal wedge, then chip 3 with the hybrid wedge and just see what the difference is. I know it's a very basic starting point, but it would be interesting to see. It's about typical for my wedge shots. Listen, like I said, I'm not the greatest wedge player in the world, but they're okay. I wouldn't be over the moon with those, but I'm not massively disappointed. Now with this beast, wow. I mean, first off, it's so big. The head size is gigantic. I actually quite like that alignment strip through the middle. Another thing I've really noticed, even though this is a hollow head design, it's very head heavy. It feels like the head is wanting to always go down towards the ground because of the weight of it. Let's see how it does. Well, it kind of worked. It's not the best result, but all I needed to do then was kind of glide it along the floor. That was really weird. It sounded very different as well. Like it has kind of a high-pitched ting off the face. I think I need to get used to this. I'm not sure just at the moment. Give it a little bit more speed. Oh, well. Because I didn't see a single shot like that on the advert or the infomercial. That was a little bit chunky. What's really interesting here, that's where I struck the first 2 from, and I must admit the last one was a little bit more towards the toe. Let me spend just a few minutes round this green, getting a real grasp of this wedge, because that wasn't the most impressive start. So more like a putting stroke. That's what I've really got to remember on a shot like this. It comes out really strange. I've not quite figured that out yet. It's easy to get up in the air, it really is. I'm just finding it difficult to kind of judge how it's going to fly, how much it's going to spin, for example. And again, for somebody who's struggling, they won't care about that, but it's something that I'm noticing. Can't feel like I can get it to the hole from here. Let me just try a much longer swing. I feel like I can throw this further than I'm giving it credit for. Getting closer, slowly but surely. I am not getting the speed distance control on this at all, but in fairness, there's one thing to notice, because I'm just going with a straight face and maybe that alignment line. Look how straight they all are. They're all going in the right direction, just not getting the right distance. Oh, that had a chance of getting really close. To give a bit of an idea of what this wedge sounds like as well, because of that hollow head design, it sounds really, really unusual. Sounds like a wood. So far, shots around the greens, it's done well. The positive, I've duffed no shots. I've thinned no shots. Have they been the best chips I've ever hit? No. I'm struggling to gauge the distance control, to be honest. A little bit to do with the head weight, the loft, the way that I have to use more like a putting stroke. But, as I mentioned, who this wedge is aimed at, they'd be delighted just to be getting the golf ball on the green. Now this wedge does have limitations. It is only really for chipping and pitching. It's not for bunker play, it's not for full shots. So I want to see, what does pitching actually entail? Because that can be quite subjective. So I'm going to move back further and further and further with this wedge, just to see what its limits are. Is it 50 yards? Can I hit it from 70 yards potentially? It's not perfect, this wedge, but I do think it's a lot of positives. Yep. That stopped so quick. Oh, a little bit thin, but, oh, wow. This already has gone further than I expect it to. Just out of interest, let's just go back to 100 yards. Oh, be good. Again, they are not good for distance control, not. But I cannot argue with how straight the shots are going towards the target. Really happy with that. So to answer the question, is this wedge a gimmick or is it great? It kind of sits somewhere in between. It's great for really short shots around the green. It is almost duff proof, and I'm a big fan of that. If you absolutely struggle with chipping, it's well worth considering. I'd also recommend going and having some lessons with a coach, that's also good. It's not a gimmick, but I think because of the way it looks and the way that it's been marketed, it can often be put in that category. Going back to that point, if you are horrendous at chipping, you hate chipping, this might be the little confidence boost you need. We'll see you next time.